This is the last person on Earth who would possibly join the Metaverse. And today we're going to talk to him about the Metaverse.
Why are you already laughing?
It's just because I was thinking about asking you about Metaverse stuff and it just sounds ridiculous. Alright.
Well, I'm excited.
So, you saw the Facebook thing, right?
I did, yes.
And what are your thoughts?
It's like my version of hell.
Why?
Well, first off, the video is awful. It was just a terrible video.
He's talking about the Metaverse video that they put out where they were like explaining their vision of what the Metaverse will be like. This is what we showed him. We showed it to him because he's the last person on Earth that would possibly join the Metaverse. So, anyway, keep going.
Well, not only is it like an awful video, but it's an awful product. Like, no one's gonna use that. No one should use that. And anyone who wants to use that, anyone who watches that video and is like, dang, this is the future, like, this is what I want out of life, clearly has no life, like, has no projection in life.
Kid, will you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm a rancher.
Can you see why this is the last person on Earth who would be in the Metaverse? So, Kid's a rancher.
I don't even have a Facebook.
Yeah, no Facebook.
So
not really. You have an Instagram though, right?
I had an Instagram.
Oh,
I don't right now.
that's right. You do.
I haven't had an Instagram for a little while.
You do have a phone.
I have a phone. It's an iPhone. iPhone 12. I'm proud of that.
All right, you got a better iPhone than I do.
I'm pretty tech savvy. It's not like I don't know anything about tech.
Yeah.
I mean, I was born in a generation where everyone had.
And you like video
phones and
games.
stuff.
I mean, you were the one that
Sure,
came
yeah,
up with
no,
the sale idea.
I do like my fair share of video games. So don't get me wrong, I'm open to the idea of new technologies and whatnot, but
what Facebook or Meta is putting out there just isn't. It's not what you're thinking.
it's horse crap, dude. It's something that technology is not meant to do.
Okay, so like when we talk about the Metaverse, this like 3D version of the internet, do you see that actually like happening? Do you think like the Metaverse will actually happen?
I think they're going to make it. I don't doubt that. I do not think that it is going to be a viable product.
Why?
Do you remember, what was it called? Google Glass?
Yeah.
Did you remember how everyone was all freaking out at that point? Like, oh my gosh, now we're going to have all these people walking around with these cyborg glasses on?
Sure.
Did that happen?
Well, no, but I feel like it kind of missed its market in a sense.
And you don't think that that would happen right now?
I think it would happen right
With
now.
the Metaverse. You don't think that Metaverse might be missing its market? Because there is still plenty of things to do in this real world that a Metaverse is not a viable product yet. I think that when it gets to the point where, like, sure, we're stacking each other on top of each other just to live, then yeah, a Metaverse might be useful then. But in the meantime, I can still throw a baseball in that direction and have it land in a field. And that enough is reason for me to think, I think I'd rather go out to that field than get on my glasses and look at a retarded version of a space room with, Lil Nas X hanging out as a red robot.
Okay.
And playing cards for 2 seconds before we look at some LSD acid trip purple thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
But that was one of the aspects of the Metaverse.
I get it. It's an idea.
Was the gaming
it's
and
a
social
concept.
So what about the augmented reality side of a Metaverse? Like being able to, have like directions to a restaurant.
Put a pair of glasses on and then
Sure.
it turns your apartment into a Roman cathedral so that you don't have to clean your room anymore because you don't have to look at your dirty room because you can just put on your glasses and have it turn into wherever you want.
Okay, there's that side of things. But like what about like the actual useful things like, like being able to have directions or, things popping up like right in.
Hey Siri, take me to Salt Lake City.
Getting directions to Salt Lake City.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I already have those directions.
Yeah,
I don't need to put glasses on.
But like, what if you were wearing that? You didn't have to actually like pick it up or anything.
To Salt Lake City.
I have no problem with listening.
Okay, but I mean, like, it feels like glasses are a better thing than a brick that sits in your pocket.
I don't wear glasses.
But would you, if all the capabilities that were in your phone were in a pair of glasses, would you put them on and wear them?
No.
Why not?
Because it's on my phone. Like,
Okay.
it's like the same reason why I don't wear an Apple Watch. Because, like, I mean, the only reason why I would wear a watch is to, be able to see the time, whatever it goes. But whenever I need to check the time, I reach into my pocket, I pull this out. It's got the time right there.
Okay.
Like, there's no need. It's already been made so simple to do these things that even just to make it, like, 0.01% more convenient to do is, like, just not worth the effort to me.
But,
like, it's not worth the change to me.
Okay, maybe not to you, but, like, think about, like, grandma and grandpa who are not very tech-savvy people, and if it were more intuitive for them, like, they wear
I
glasses.
guarantee you they'd find a way to, like, get confused about it. You'd put it on, they'd be like... like,
Okay.
can you strap a VR headset on them right now and have them not just, like, totally lose their minds?
Yeah.
There you go. Like, that would be the same thing. It's the explaining the iPad to the grandma
Right.
scenario where it's just like, no matter what you do, they will find a way
Screw it up.
to just make it so hard to try to explain the simplest thing to them.
Okay, so let's go into the education side of the metaverse. That's another thing. they
Oh boy.
mentioned.
Here's the
You're a
argument
helicopter
I
pilot.
I am.
Okay. Virtual reality and augmented reality has been used a lot
In
pilot
aviation.
training.
Yeah.
In aviation training.
As like simulators and stuff.
Simulators and stuff like that. And so, that type of technology could extend to more education. You're in college, you know how bad a lot of, like, college classes could be and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you see something like AR and VR making that better? Or being adopted?
Dude, sure. I mean, they throw every kind of technology at education somehow these days. I mean, I don't really care what they do there. My only thing is like, I watched this video once where it's called like A Date in 2027 or something like that. And it's where it's just like about this guy who's in college and he's in his dorm. And the way he goes to school is he puts on a pair of glasses and puts him in an augmented reality classroom.
Type thing, okay.
Where, and like in reality, he's literally in his underwear. He's like buck naked, hasn't showered, looks terrible. But in augmented reality, when his classmates look at him, he's all get up in the suit, trimmed and stuff. And like the whole point of that video was about him. He's got a crush on this other girl in his class, and it's like him trying to ask her out over augmented reality, and he's just like freaking out because he doesn't know how to talk to this person. He has no idea how to like speak to this person, and it takes him. Like when he finally asks her out, he immediately takes the glasses off and runs over and pukes into his toilet because he's like so freaked out about it. And so like I got no problem with like the aspect that they implement these technologies into education and stuff, but like what are we losing from that? Like just recently, I talked to the chief pilot over at Provo, and he was talking to me, and he was saying, he's like, I want you as an instructor over here. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, because you're like the only kid in your whole generation that I've ever met that can look a person in the eye and talk to them. I was like,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know, I understand that. And I think that's an aspect that we're losing a lot of because technology is making us more isolated. It's it's bringing us closer together on a different reality,
Right.
but pulling us further away on this reality.
Okay.
And I think people are just losing a basic fundamental human skill, and that is just basic respect in a conversation, the
Yeah.
way you address someone, the way you talk to them. I feel like and school is where people learn that stuff.
That's a good point.
School is where you learn to, respect an authority figure. Who's your teacher? You learn to create your own connections on people on your level as your classmates. You learn to, make friends with people on a higher level in that sense. And that's something we wouldn't get if you put this all on a pair of glasses. If you put it all on a pair of glasses, like, you're no longer bound to any of those rules that are going to teach you that kind of thing. I don't know. Do you get the point that I'm going at?
Yeah, I see what you're getting at, like,
Yeah.
not being actually there and, like, the physical aspect of things. But, I mean, like, with virtual reality, that's kind of one of the appeals to it, is the fact that, like, you have a body in virtual reality. They can see your gaze. It's not like Fortnite and Call of Duty where you don't actually ever see the person. I mean...
Well, that was the other thing. Like, the video that I talked about, he's in his underwear.
Right.
But he puts the glasses on, people look at him, he's in a suit. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. You still will absolutely not have to, like, even just learn the skill of, getting ready to go to school. Just think about the things that teach you. It teaches you to, wake up on time. You put it on an augmented reality, these kids are going to wake up 5 minutes before class, throw on their glasses, and still be in bed when they're in class.
But I mean, that's
gonna
how,
take away
that's
the
how
skill
Zoom
of-
classes have been with like college.
And that's why I'm not a huge fan of the Zoom classes, because I mean, I got friends who literally don't go to school anymore. I got friends who, work at companies through Zoom, and they're like, dude, I love this because I'm still naked at noon, and I've been paid $15 an hour since 7 o'clock this morning, and I'm like, how the frick? And I don't know. I just think that's a basic human thing that everyone needs to learn, because eventually there's gonna come a time where you will have to wake up early and get yourself put together to go to like a job interview or something. Unless that's happening over Zoom too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the idea that, the COVID pandemic has shown the world, is that there is a need for a virtual space to do all of these things.
Yeah, sure. But I think that there's also always gonna be a need to learn those things that you cannot learn online.
Okay.
And I believe that, you balance the two.
Yeah.
100%. And I think that everyone needs to have a knowledge of this and like how it works and stuff, because, maybe there would come another pandemic where we'd have to rely on this stuff to make the world keep turning. But like, in the meantime, let's not forget what got us to this point.
Right.
And let's not forget those fundamentals. Let's not forget those skills and aspects of humanity that are still going to be important.
Okay.
It's almost like we're just so stoked that everything got so much easier that we're willing to just like, bag up everything else and just put it aside, because like, oh yeah, no, this way's so much easier. We're doing it this way now.
Right, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of natural human innovation.
That's human tendency. I know.
We try to make things easier on us, and that's what's like gotten us ahead of the dinosaurs and everything else, is the fact that we were able to create tools that made our lives easier.
Yeah.
That's why we're the top of the food chain. We're not the most dangerous predator.
We can also be a victim of our own.
True. Yeah.
Like tooling. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the gaming side of things, because you game. You like games. We grew up playing video games.
I wouldn't say I game, but like I play video games.
Okay, you play video games. So the idea of a metaverse where you can meet up with people and jump into games together, or like spatial mapping, where we could turn this room that we're sitting into a Call of Duty Zombies map and play zombies. Like, does that seem like something you would use a metaverse for?
I feel like if it's something that I like went over to someone's house and they're like, hey dude, if you put on these glasses and look at that wall, there'll be zombies coming through it. I'd be like, really? Alright, give me the glasses. I'd want to try it, but like, I can't see myself having that big of an attachment to it. I don't know, I can't see myself like, 10 years down the line having an emotional attachment. Because like, I like, most of the video games I play are, probably around 8+ years old.
They're back from like,
because they're like what I
2010.
played as a kid,
Yeah.
And so therefore the reason why I play them nowadays is because I think there's a sense of like sentimentalism in them, and so like they have like an emotional attachment to them. But not only that, I mean they're fun to play,
Right.
and so but like fun isn't everything for me when it comes to video games. Like for me, a video game not only needed to be fun, but I also needed to be invested in it. And so like nowadays,
So like when you say invested in, like, what makes you invested in a game?
oh, well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's
That's like a whole conversation. I don't know.
Well,
It was
okay,
just
so
like-
I threw you into Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. That's like one of the more
Yeah.
popular games on the Oculus Quest right
And
now.
I had a ton of fun playing it, but you didn't see me like, begging to play it all the time. Like I'm not
That's
constantly coming to your house to play it. Whereas like, as an 11-year-old kid, I didn't own any Call of Duty games, but I literally went over to a friend's house that had one every weekend to make sure I at least played Call of Duty for an hour.
Got your fixin'.
Exactly. Like I had to go play it because it was so fun and I wanted to keep playing it. But like the VR stuff, it's fun when you do it. It's like zip lining. Zip lining is fun. And like, if you're on vacation, you got a day to fill up, go zip lining for the day. But it's not something that at least me, am not an avid zip liner. I'm not an avid VRer.
Okay.
I just can't see it being, for me at least, a super important thing that I would always be making time for.
So in general, you don't see virtual reality, augmented reality becoming commonplace? Or do you think society will go that route?
No, I totally think society is going to go that route. And the reason why I say that is because I am, like, this
You're not
bottom
society.
2%. I'm not society. I'm not the one who's making these decisions.
Okay.
So I'm like the lower percentile of people who thinks the way that I do. And so I 100%, as much as I hate the thought of it, is, yeah, no, I totally think this is what the future is going to look like.
Okay.
And it's going to be like Wall-E, dude. A bunch of milquetoast people doing milquetoast stuff. It's disgusting.
Last question. Do you feel like the metaverse is going to make your job harder? Like the things that you do you think that because people would start jumping into this virtual reality world, do you feel like that's going to like cut you out?
As a rancher, no, because as a rancher, you only have to work with other ranchers. And so
Right.
I think that culture is always going to stay the same. Like, they're going to be pretty unaffiliated with each other. As, like, a pilot, yeah, I
Okay.
do. I think it's just going to be, like, more of a lost skill, if anything. It's just going to be, like, you know, the new generation of pilots is going to be these people who are used to doing things on augmented reality and all that stuff, and then when they get into the real world, they have a hard time adjusting.
Okay.
But I don't think it's gonna come to the point where it's impossible for them. It's just gonna be like an adjusting thing for them,
Interesting.
because they're gonna be not used to it, and so then when they get thrown into the real world and the real careers, they're gonna like, it's gonna take them some time to like get used to the real world. I don't know.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, obviously you can't perfectly simulate everything in a virtual reality.
Right, and it's another, the other fact about it is like consequences. Like when you fly in a flight simulator, you're not actually racking up real flight hours.
Right. It's
Like,
not like
they
there's
don't
any
care-
wear and
yeah,
tear
like,
on the machine.
Yeah, there's no real consequences to it. Like you're feeling perfectly calm the entire time. Whereas like when you're learning to fly an actual aircraft, and you learn how to do an engine failure for the first time, all of a sudden like you legit cut the engine, and I'm legit actually having to recover a real thing. So like my heart's racing and the adrenaline's pumping, and that's how you learn to do it. Take someone, for instance, who's only done engine failures on a simulator. I wouldn't want them being my pilot, because when the engine actually fails, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I remember what to do. You just push this button," and like there's not gonna be any like, or the opposite's gonna be true. They're like, "Oh, it's the real thing this time," and they're gonna freak out and not do it right.
Right.
So I think that's definitely a kind of a scary aspect of going totally virtual. It's like nothing's real, and like when you're virtual, there's no consequences. I don't know, dude. Isn't that in the Star Trek movie? Remember how he's like the captain, and he's like, he doesn't give a crap. He's like eating an apple, and like they're supposed to like be in this like super intense situation, but he doesn't care because he knows it's fake.
He
just knows it's fake. Yeah. So like he's just he's all relaxed. He's sitting in his chair eating his apple and just like having a good time with it. And then like they come out and they're like, "You're missing the point of this," and he's like, "What? It's fake." And I think that's the same thing.
Okay. All right. That is talking to the last person on Earth who will probably be in the metaverse. Thanks for sharing your interesting perspective
Yeah.
on this. And that's all from us, I guess. Like, subscribe, that crap that you do on YouTube.
Don't do it.
We will see you next time.
I'm ashamed of you for even saying that. I hate when people say that.